The world will test you. People will provoke you. Life will throw chaos in your path. But your job is not to react like everyone else. Your job is to stand firm, act calm, and keep walking forward. The moment you let something shake your peace, you give away your power. And once power is lost, control follows. The weak shout, panic, and complain. The strong, they remain silent, calculated, unbothered. Strength is not in showing force, it's in not needing to. Every challenge that comes to distract you is a test of whether you can ignore the noise and stay focused on the mission. If you give your attention to every fool with an opinion, you rob your destiny. If someone can push your buttons, they control your machine. You must learn to disconnect your emotional wires. When something doesn't serve your higher vision, it's not your problem. Walk past it, leave it behind. People want a reaction. They want to feel important. Don't give them that satisfaction. Give them silence. A man or woman who moves like they're unbothered is a dangerous individual. They can't be manipulated. They can't be predicted. They can't be controlled. That kind of person shakes the world without raising their voice. That kind of person leads without asking for permission. And the world follows them because they know something most don't. Power belongs to the one who holds the reins of emotion. Never forget, your emotions are your army. When you lose command of them, you go to war with yourself. Learn to sit still when everything around you screams for a reaction. Learn to smile when they expect rage. Learn to keep moving when they want you to stop. This is mastery. This is control. And this is where real confidence is born. The one who seems like nothing bothers them is not emotionless. They're disciplined. They feel it, but they don't feed it. People think success comes from talent or luck. It doesn't. It comes from the relentless focus of someone who doesn't flinch. Someone who keeps showing up when others quit. Someone who sees obstacles and walks through them like a ghost through smoke. You must become emotionally bulletproof. Not because the world is fair, but because your mission is too important to be shaken by petty things. When you choose to act like nothing bothers you, what you're really saying is, I'm already ahead. You rise above by letting go. Let go of the need to be understood. Let go of needing to respond. Let go of needing to win every argument. That's not strength, that's ego. And ego is the enemy of progress. The calm mind will always build more than the chaotic one, so don't get dragged into storms that aren't yours. Learn to observe without absorbing. Learn to watch without getting pulled in. The only battle worth fighting is the one inside you, and when you win that one, the rest of the world doesn't stand a chance. Or they'll try to throw dirt on your name, let them. They'll try to block your path, walk around them. They'll try to question your value, ignore them. Why? Because you know where you're going. You're not in this to prove anything. You're in this to build something. And people who build don't argue with people who destroy. They don't scream for attention. They earn it through action. They don't chase validation. They chase victory. So from this day forward, move like you're unshakable. Don't react. Respond with discipline. Don't speak on everything. Let your results do the talking. Let the fire burn inside you, not around you. The one who moves in silence is the one who arrives first. And the one who acts as if nothing bothers them, they already won. Emotional control is power. It is the invisible armor that separates leaders from the average, builders from destroyers, winners from whiners. When you can look chaos in the eye and not blink, you win. When you can stand in a room full of noise, pressure, insults, and still move with clarity and calm, you dominate. The world is full of loud people who can't handle pressure. Their emotions leak out in complaints, anger, insecurity, and desperation. But the one who has trained their emotions doesn't flinch. They don't need to scream. They don't need to defend. They don't need to explain. Their presence says all emotional control is not about being cold. It's about being calculated. It's about moving with intention, not reaction. People who can't control their emotions will always be slaves to someone who can. If anyone can throw you off your path by pushing the right button, you don't own your mind. And if you don't own your mind, you don't own your future. You can't build something great if every piece of negativity knocks you off balance. You must train yourself to act as if nothing bothers you, not because you don't feel, but because you've mastered what matters. Let others drown in drama. You stay above it. Let others waste time on arguments and distractions. You focus forward. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you level up. Every time you move with peace while others panic, you gain ground. The strongest person in any room is the one who refuses to be emotionally moved by nonsense. They don't need validation. They don't need applause. Their vision is louder than opinions. They know that the greatest battles are won in the mind before they are ever fought in the world. Weakness is loud. Insecurity is loud. Anger is loud. But true power walks in with silence, handles business, and leaves with results. You don't have time to respond to everything that tries to provoke you. You're not here to prove your worth to small minds. You're not here to explain your mission to people who never had one. You're here to build, to grow, to rise. And that can only happen when your emotions follow your purpose, not your pain. You become powerful the moment you realize that not everything deserves your energy. Not every insult needs a comeback. Not every challenge needs a response. Some things are beneath you. Some situations are just noise. Some people are just tests. Pass the test by not engaging. Pass the test by walking away with your focus intact. Because the goal is never to react. The goal is to move with so much purpose that nonsense fades into the background. The real winners in life are not those who always feel good. They're the ones who keep going when they don't. They're the ones who show up when they're tired, calm when they're provoked, focused when they're surrounded by chaos. They've trained themselves to feel everything but act on discipline. When life hits, they don't whine, they work. When things go wrong, they don't explode, they adapt. When people try to shake them, they smile and keep building. Let them wonder why you're so calm. Let them question how you're so composed. Let them get confused by your lack of reaction. That's how you win. You win by becoming untouchable. You win by moving like you've already arrived. You win by mastering the only battlefield that matters, your mind. Stop trying to fix every opinion, answer every critic, or convince every doubter. That's not your mission. Your mission is to build a life so strong, no negativity can pull it down. Your mission is to become so focused that even your distractions get ignored. There will be moments when pressure rises, when insults come, when things break, and in those moments the average react, but the exceptional breathe, adjust, and keep going. They carry themselves like nothing touches them, not because they're numb, but because they've learned that emotions are tools, not tyrants. You feel it, but you don't fold. You recognize it, but you don't respond. You keep your eyes on the finish line and not on the people trying to stop you. Learn to act as if nothing bothers you, and you will become unshakable. Learn to keep your mouth closed when your ego wants to scream. Learn to smile when your pride wants to fight. Learn to build in silence, because the loudest thing you can do is succeed. When you move with emotional control, you become the one thing the world can't predict. You become the one person they can't figure out. You become the one force they can't stop. Most people never reach their full potential because they get distracted by things that don't matter. They get pulled into fights that steal their time and drain their energy. They give emotional reactions to people who don't deserve a second of their focus. Don't be one of them. Be the one who sees it all but stays above it. Be the one who hears it all but never lowers yourself to respond. Be the one who is so locked in on the vision that nothing has the power to break your stride. Your success will come when you realize that your peace is more valuable than your pride, that your discipline is more valuable than your ego, that your reaction is your responsibility no matter what's thrown at you. Anyone can get emotional, anyone can blow up, anyone can lose control. But the one who stays calm, stays focused, and stays disciplined, that's the one who becomes unstoppable. That's the one who wins in the end. That's the one who sets the standard that others try to follow but never match. Your reaction reveals your strength. Not your words, not your image, not what you post or how loud you shout. When pressure hits, when adversity strikes, when someone tests your patience or attacks your character, how you respond in that moment tells the world exactly who you are. Anyone can pretend to be composed when things are easy. Anyone can speak about discipline when there's nothing to endure. But the real proof comes when chaos steps into your space and you still hold your ground without letting it pull you into weakness. The strongest people are not the ones who hit back. They're the ones who don't need to. Strength is not in the punch. It's in the pause. It's in the ability to stay silent when everything in you wants to scream. It's in the control to keep walking when everything around you tries to pull you into a war that isn't worth fighting. Most people lose their power because they think reacting is winning, but reaction is often surrender. When you react without discipline, you hand the other side your energy, your focus, your control. It's easy to be triggered. It's easy to be offended. The world is full of people looking for reasons to feel something, anything, that justifies their weakness. But you're not here to be like them. You're not here to be emotional on command. You're here to build something that lasts, and that means you need to protect your strength like a treasure. Your strength is not shown by how you handle success, but by how you carry yourself through resistance. When things don't go your way, do you crumble or do you recalibrate? When someone tries to tear you down, do you react or do you rise? Every situation that tries to provoke you is not worth your time. Every critic is not worth your voice. Every slight, every jab, every insult thrown your way is a test. They want to see if you can be rattled. They want to see if you're just pretending to be focused. But when you don't react, when you don't even flinch, you reveal the depth of your power. You send a message without saying a word. You move like a force that can't be disturbed, and people start to notice. They start to back off, not because you fought them, but because they realize you're built different. The world respects restraint more than rage. It respects the one who can take a hit and still keep moving. When you walk away from petty conflict, you don't look weak. You look wise. When you keep your mouth shut and stay focused, you don't look passive. You look powerful. Anyone can shout back, but not everyone can stay focused while the world throws distractions in their face. The strongest are the most disciplined, and discipline is revealed through reaction. You need to train yourself to stop giving automatic responses to low-level attacks. You need to stop allowing yourself to be pulled into emotional traps. Just because someone is loud doesn't mean they're right. Just because someone throws fire doesn't mean you need to burn with them. Keep your fire for your goals. Save your fuel for what moves you forward. Don't spend it putting out fires that don't belong to you. When you rise above the noise, you reveal your vision. And vision always beats volume. Your legacy won't be built by how many times you reacted. It will be built by how many times you stayed steady when others fell apart. It will be built by how many times you kept working while others were arguing. It will be built by how many storms you walked through without losing your step. Most people want strength, but they don't want the training it requires. They want to be powerful, but they can't even manage their own reactions. They collapse under pressure because they never built their discipline. But the one who does, the one who trains in silence, the one who learns to breathe before they break, that's the one who gains the kind of strength that outlasts everything. Don't waste your reaction on people who aren't building anything. Don't argue with people who aren't going anywhere. Don't defend your name to people who never mattered. Let your progress speak. Let your silence speak. Let your discipline speak. That's how real strength works. It doesn't need to be proven. It doesn't need to be explained. It just is. And when people see it, they recognize it without a word. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally trained. You're not here to be numb. You're here to be wise. You're here to master yourself so thoroughly that nothing external can throw off your internal compass. You've got too much to accomplish to be stopped by small minds. You've got too much to build to be shaken by small moments. So guard your reaction. Guard it like it's the gate to your future. Because it is. One wrong reaction can cost you momentum. One wrong outburst can cost you trust. One slip in control can cost you months of progress. Stay level-headed when others lose themselves. Stay grounded when others get swept up. Stay focused when others chase distractions. Let your goals drive your response. Let your future dictate your present choices. Move with intention, not emotion. Because the one who reacts with control, with clarity, with calm force, that's the one who can't be stopped. That's the one who commands respect without ever asking for it. That's the one who lives above the noise and wins in the silence. Discipline over emotion is the mark of every true achiever. Emotion will tell you to quit when it gets hard, to lash out when you're challenged, to retreat when fear creeps in, but discipline tells you to keep showing up. Discipline is what carries you when motivation is gone, when the excitement dies, when nobody's watching. It's easy to act strong when you feel good. But real strength is doing what needs to be done even when every part of you wants to stop. Emotion is temporary. Discipline is eternal. The winners in life are not the ones who feel the best. They're the ones who stick to the plan no matter how they feel. Your emotions are loud, impulsive, inconsistent. One day they fire you up. The next day they pull you into doubt. If you allow them to lead, they will destroy your consistency. They will push you to chase comfort. They will convince you to break your own word. But discipline never lies. Discipline never fluctuates. Discipline is the voice that says, get up, go again, one more rep, stay late, keep building even when no one claps, even when no one believes, even when it's just you and the grind. You cannot be great if your life is led by emotion. You must become the kind of person who moves by principle, not by mood. Most people live at the mercy of how they feel. They only work when they're inspired. They only push when they're hyped. And they crash the moment adversity shows up. But discipline doesn't wait for inspiration. Discipline doesn't ask for permission. It operates regardless of mood. It trains when tired. It shows up when hurting. It keeps its word when no one is looking. It's the most powerful weapon you will ever own, and the greatest part is, it's built, not born. No one is born disciplined. You build it through repetition. You build it through self-respect. You build it every time you say no to your feelings and yes to your standard. You must decide that your emotions don't make the rules. You must train yourself to feel everything but act on discipline. The world does not reward those who act emotionally. It rewards those who do what's required. Feelings are fleeting, but results are permanent. You don't rise by doing what feels good. You rise by doing what's necessary. The dream is only available to those who can silence the emotion long enough to get the job done. That's the truth nobody wants to hear. The grind will not always feel good, but the goal doesn't care how you feel. It only responds to action. You don't reach your next level by getting emotional every time something doesn't go your way. You reach it by being grounded, locked in, and relentless. You reach it by having the self-discipline to show up no matter what your inner voice is screaming. Emotion will try to make you doubt. Discipline will shut that down and get to work. Emotion wants comfort. Discipline demands growth. Emotion is about right now. Discipline is about legacy. If you're serious about winning, you better stop listening to how you feel and start acting on what you decided. Nobody gets anywhere meaningful by being controlled by their emotions. They get there by having a clear vision, a rock-solid plan, and the self-command to execute it daily. Discipline is a decision you make every morning. You wake up, and before your emotions have a chance to speak, you decide what needs to be done. You don't wait for the mood to be right. You create your own momentum. That's the separator. That's what elevates average to unstoppable. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's discipline practiced until it becomes second nature. Even in the darkest seasons, discipline keeps you moving. Even when everything falls apart, discipline gives you something to hold on to. Emotion will make you panic. Discipline keeps you grounded. Emotion tells you to give up. Discipline tells you to find a way. Emotion wants to react. Discipline knows when to respond and when to ignore. The more you train yourself to obey discipline instead of emotion, the more dangerous you become to anything that tries to stop you. The battle is always between what you feel and what you know must be done. That tension lives inside everyone, but only a few win it consistently. They win it because they made a vow that emotion will never be their leader. They understand that discipline is not glamorous. It doesn't always feel good, but it always pays off. It always multiplies. It always builds something solid. The ones who learn this early build lives that others only dream of, because while the emotional ones were chasing comfort, they were stacking wins. You will not feel like it every day. You will not always be motivated. That's a fact, but you don't need to be. You just need to do it anyway. You just need to hold the line. You just need to remember that the dream doesn't belong to the emotional. It belongs to the disciplined. Every breakthrough is built on days when nothing felt right, but you showed up anyway. Every level you want requires a higher version of you, and that version won't be led by emotion. It will be led by discipline, focus, and the willingness to do what most won't. Discipline over emotion is the only way to survive the pressure, outlast the setbacks, and reach the levels others never touch. It's not exciting, it's not flashy, but it's real. And it's the only thing that works when everything else falls apart. You want strength, control, and power? Then train your discipline until nothing can pull you off course, until emotions can scream and you won't move, until the noise gets loud and you stay locked in, until failure knocks and you still show up. That's when you know you've crossed over from being driven by emotion to being ruled by purpose. That's where champions live, and that's exactly where you belong. Detachment is mastery. When nothing owns you, no praise, no insult, no outcome, no opinion, you are free. And when you are free, you become dangerous. Most people are prisoners to their desires, slaves to their emotions, and hostages to how others perceive them. But the one who masters detachment can walk away from anything that threatens their peace, their mission, or their mind. That's real power. That's not weakness. That's control. And the one who has control wins. To detach doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It means you stop depending on the world to validate your worth. You stop waiting for someone to recognize you before you move. You stop needing outcomes to go your way before you act. Detachment is not the absence of ambition. It's the height of clarity. You can pursue your goal with intensity, but you don't let the winds inflate you or the losses destroy you. You don't let the noise steer you off course. You become calm in chaos, focused in failure, and sharp under pressure. People who attach their identity to everything around them are always off balance. If things go well, they feel like gods. If things go bad, they crumble. That's not strength. That's dependency. Mastery begins when you learn to separate who you are from what happens to you. You are not your results. You are not your failures. You are not your applause. You are the one who keeps going regardless of those things. Detachment lets you operate from principle, not emotion, from vision, not reaction, from truth, not fear. If someone can shake your confidence with a few words, you're not free. If your day is ruined because things didn't go as planned, you're not grounded. If you can't function without being praised, you're not stable. Detachment builds an internal foundation that doesn't crack every time the world shifts. It means your energy is no longer up for sale. Your attention is no longer reactive. Your focus is no longer hijacked by things that don't serve your future. The moment you stop attaching your identity to things you can't control, you take back your power. The most dangerous man in the room is the one who has nothing to prove and nothing to protect. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't beg. He doesn't chase. His moves come from alignment, not desperation. That's the kind of power detachment gives you. You don't fear loss because you never tied your soul to what could be taken. You don't fear people walking away because your direction isn't dependent on who decides to join you. You don't fear failure because you know how to rebuild. You walk with quiet certainty. While others run in circles trying to be seen. When you detach from outcomes, you start focusing on effort. And effort is the only thing you truly control. You stop worrying about what others think and start investing in what you're becoming. You stop reacting to every attack because you realize your energy is expensive and not everything deserves a response. You stop explaining yourself because you understand that those who get it don't need it, and those who don't won't believe it anyway. Detachment trains you to be unbothered, not because you're arrogant, but because you're focused. There's power in being able to walk away from anything that no longer serves your growth. Power in knowing that your peace is more important than their opinion. Power in being able to say, I don't need that anymore, and move on. You become more dangerous the moment you realize that not everything requires your attention, your emotion, or your participation. That's when you become lethal. Because now, Nothing outside of you has control over you. You can't be played. You can't be manipulated. You can't be moved off purpose. Detachment is not about running away from life. It's about standing in the middle of it with your soul intact. It's about moving through storms without absorbing them. It's about staying rooted in discipline while everything around you pulls at your emotions. When others get tangled in drama, you stay focused. When others fall apart from pressure, you breathe and stay steady. You move like a ghost in a world full of noise. Untouchable, focused, untied to things that don't last. The world will test your detachment by offering you approval, comfort, flattery, and fear. But the one who is unmoved by all of it becomes the master. You'll be tempted to cling to comfort. You'll be tempted to chase applause. But the moment you trade your mission for those things, you lose your edge. The mission comes first, always. If the path requires solitude, walk it. If it means silence, embrace it. If it costs applause, pay it. Because what you're building demands more from you than the world can understand. Most people are emotional because they're too attached. They cling to what they should have let go. They hold on to what already broke. They invest energy into battles they've already outgrown. Detachment breaks that cycle. It cuts the emotional weight. It frees your mind to move forward without carrying the past. You stop trying to control everything. You stop trying to fix what was never yours. You learn to let it burn and build new. You become unstoppable because now your power comes from within, not from outcomes, not from people, not from praise. You want to lead, then detach. You want to win, then detach. You want to last, then detach. Because the ones who rise the highest are always the ones who hold the least. They're not dragged by drama, weighed by fear, or delayed by ego. They move light, they move focused, they move free, and in that freedom they become masters. Stay unavailable to drama, not because you're better, but because you're building. Because your mission is too important to waste energy on distractions dressed as urgency. Drama is bait for the weak. It wants your reaction, your attention, your time, and once you give it those things, it robs you of clarity, steals your momentum, and poisons your focus. Winners don't entertain chaos. They rise above it. They stay silent when others seek conflict. They stay distant when others crave attention. They don't show up to battles that serve no purpose. Being unavailable to drama is not about being passive. It's about protecting your power. Because every time you get pulled into someone else's mess, you lose time building your own empire. Every time you explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you, you lose focus. Every time you argue with people who aren't even chasing anything, you step out of alignment with what you're becoming. You can't move forward while constantly defending where you are. You don't owe anyone your energy just because they want it. Most people live for drama because they have no direction. They need chaos to feel alive. They feed off conflict. They confuse attention with respect and noise with value. But you're not most people. You don't need to be heard to be impactful. You don't need to respond to be strong. You don't need to prove anything to those who have nothing of value to offer. Silence is your sword. Focus is your weapon. Discipline is your armor. When you live like that, you become untouchable to the chaos of the average. You're not here to react. You're here to build. You're here to lead. You're here to grow. That means you have to be selective about what gets your attention. You don't respond to insults. You don't chase arguments. You don't explain your moves. You just keep making them. Let your progress make the noise. Let your actions draw the line. When people can't reach you, they can't control you. And when they can't control you, they fear your discipline. That's the difference between someone who's reactive and someone who's ruthless and purpose. Drama is designed to distract you. It pretends to be important. It pretends to be urgent. But it's a test. It's a trap. It's a low-frequency game trying to pull you off a high-level path. Stay unavailable. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them scream. The more they yell, the more you stay still. The louder the noise gets, the more you lock in. Your silence is not weakness. It's precision. It's control. It's a message that says, you can't shake me. Because every time you choose focus over reaction, you grow stronger. When you stop entertaining drama, you start accelerating progress. Suddenly, there's more space in your mind for ideas, more time in your day for growth. more energy for the things that matter. You begin to notice how light it feels to no longer carry petty arguments, old grudges, or pointless emotional wars. You walk cleaner. You breathe deeper. You move with purpose instead of pressure. That's the reward of staying unavailable. You're no longer reacting to the world. You're commanding your path through it. You don't owe a response to every comment. You don't owe an appearance to every event. You don't owe your presence to people who only want access to your peace so they can destroy it. Protect your circle. Protect your routine. Protect your mission. Every ounce of energy you give to drama is energy you subtract from the vision. That's a price too high for someone who's serious about becoming great. You don't have to hate anyone to leave them behind. You don't have to argue to make a point. Sometimes your distance is the clearest boundary you'll ever set. The ones who stay unavailable are the ones who go the furthest. They know that every distraction is a detour, and every detour is a delay. They don't get pulled into pettiness because they're too busy building something real. They don't take things personally because they're too locked in on the big picture. They don't waste energy on proving things because their life becomes the proof. That's what happens when you stop entertaining nonsense and start honoring your time like it's gold. You can't be legendary if you're still reacting to everything that doesn't matter. You can't reach your highest self if you're still triggered by noise. You can't unlock greatness if you're available to everyone and everything. The path demands separation. The purpose demands discipline. And discipline demands that you keep your energy sacred. That means saying no more often. That means staying quiet more often. That means walking away more often. Not out of fear, but out of power. Keep your name out of arguments. Keep your time out of chaos. Keep your spirit out of war zones that weren't meant for you. This is how the focused rise, not by proving themselves, but by outlasting the noise. Not by joining the drama, but by walking through it untouched. Not by reacting to fire, but by building something so massive that no fire can burn it down. Stay unavailable, not to life, not to love, not to growth, but to drama, to distractions, to the small games that keep big people stuck. That's how you move like a master in a world full of amateurs. Keep your mind on the goal. That is the first rule of every champion, every builder, every leader who refuses to be denied. The moment your mind drifts from the target, your energy scatters, your pace slows, and your results suffer. The goal must be burned so deeply into your vision that nothing can distract you. Not noise, not failure, not emotions, not people. Clarity is power, and when your focus is locked on where you're going, the obstacles along the way start to shrink. You don't rise by hoping. You rise by locking in. You rise by waking up every single day and making a decision that no matter what happens, you will move toward your outcome. You won't delay it. You won't justify excuses. You won't break your promise to yourself. Every action becomes intentional. Every choice becomes strategic. You're not reacting to the world. You're shaping it according to your vision. That's the mentality required to win in a world full of distraction. The average mind is a battlefield of chaos, pulled in 10 directions, consumed by noise, obsessed with what? Doesn't matter. But the mind that stays on the goal becomes sharp, disciplined, and lethal. It sees through temptation. It rejects comfort. It doesn't celebrate too early or mourn too long. It stays in motion. It stays focused. And that focus builds momentum. Momentum builds confidence. And confidence wins battles long before they're ever fought. The world is designed to test your attention. At every turn, something wants to pull your eyes off the prize. People will talk. Circumstances will shift. Pain will visit. But your job is to remember what you started for. Your job is to shut the door on everything that doesn't push you forward. You are not here to be liked, praised, or understood. You are here to finish what you started. You are here to hit the mark. That's it. If you don't keep your mind on the goal, you'll start to settle. You'll make peace with average. You'll start calling your potential good enough just to avoid the pressure of chasing excellence. But pressure builds diamonds. Pressure forges greatness. And that pressure only becomes fuel when the goal is bigger than the discomfort. You're not supposed to feel good every day. You're supposed to be committed. When commitment becomes your compass, the goal becomes inevitable. Focus is a muscle. And just like every other muscle, it must be trained. You train it by saying no to what doesn't align. You train it by staying consistent when it gets boring. You train it by eliminating distractions, not managing them. You don't need more motivation. You need more focus. Motivation comes and goes, but focus carries you through the days when everything in you wants to quit. Focus is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters with intensity and without apology. Keeping your mind on the goal requires silence. Not everything deserves a response. Not every battle is yours to fight. Sometimes the most powerful move is to keep walking. The moment you explain yourself to people who aren't building anything, you dilute your energy. The moment you start looking for validation, you start shrinking your vision to fit their level of belief. But your goal doesn't need a cheerleader. It needs a soldier. It needs someone who will show up when it's hard, when it's lonely, and when no one's clapping. You don't reach the next level by chance. You get there by keeping your eyes on the finish line while everyone else looks around. Let them gossip. Let them doubt. Let them waste their energy. You're too focused to be fazed. You're too grounded to be shaken. You know what it costs to drift. You've already tasted what happens when you break your focus. Never again. The vision is locked. The path is set. The work is in motion. Greatness is not achieved by multitasking your dreams. You don't chase 10 things and expect to win at one. You pick the target and you obsess. You breathe it, you think it, you plan around it, you build toward it, and you protect it like it's life or death. Because in many ways it is. It's the difference between legacy and regret, between average and greatness, between talking about it and being it. Stay mentally in the room, even when physically you're tired. Keep your mind forward, even when the world pulls you sideways. Discipline your thinking to reflect the goal, not the setback, not the failure, not the mood. What you focus on grows. Focus on the outcome, and your actions will rise to meet it. Focus on the distractions, and your ambition will rot in mediocrity. The mind is a weapon. Sharpen it on purpose, or dull it with excuses. Winners are not the most talented. They're the most focused. They're the ones who said, "This is what I want," and then refused to let anything weaken their grip. They didn't need perfect conditions. They didn't wait to feel ready. They didn't stop when things got slow. They kept going because the goal was too important to quit. That's what separates them. That's what builds empires. There will be days when you forget the goal. Days when life throws weight on your back. That's when you dig deep and remind yourself why you started. That's when you get quiet, look in the mirror, and say, "Let's get back to work." Because the goal hasn't moved, and neither should your focus. You didn't come this far to stop now. You came to finish. You came to conquer. You came to make the vision real. So keep your mind locked. Keep your actions aligned. Keep your soul on fire. And no matter what happens, never take your eyes off the goal. Silence is a weapon. It disarms noise, it confuses the petty, and it protects your power. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, the one who masters silence holds the real control, not because they have nothing to say, but because they have nothing to prove. Silence isn't weakness. It's precision. It's discipline. It's the decision to act with strategy instead of reacting with emotion. It is the trait of the powerful, the focused, and the unshakable. When you choose silence over reaction, you choose strength over chaos. You don't argue with fools. You don't respond to bait. You don't flinch when people try to pull you into their storms, because you understand that responding costs energy, and your energy is sacred. You are not here to win arguments. You are here to win in life. Let the loud ones burn themselves out. Let the emotional ones scream into the void. You remain calm. You remain unbothered. You remain in control. Silence is how you rise while others spiral. It's how you keep building while others are busy breaking themselves down. While they gossip, you grind. While they shout, you sharpen. While they react, you elevate. You can't be both reactive and focused. You can't be both emotional and strategic. You either spend your life chasing drama, or you spend it chasing purpose. The choice is yours, and the path is drawn by your silence. Every time you speak, you reveal your position. Every time you react, you give up terrain. But when you remain still, you gain ground. You become unpredictable. And unpredictability is power. People can't manipulate what they can't read. They can't control what they can't provoke. That's why silence terrifies the weak, because they rely on your reaction to validate their own noise. When you give them nothing, you leave them with only themselves. And that's the most dangerous truth they can face. Silence is focus. It says, I don't need to respond because I'm too busy becoming. It says, I have more important battles to win. It says, your distractions are not my problem. And when you live like that, you become immune to nonsense. You stop justifying your every move. You stop explaining your every step. You stop lowering your vibration to meet people who have no direction. That's how you conserve power. That's how you preserve peace. The greatest threats don't come with volume. They come with stillness. The greatest warriors don't swing wildly. They wait, they watch, they move with intent. Silence makes you dangerous because it means you're thinking while others are talking. It means you're planning while others are panicking. It means you're 10 steps ahead while they're still reacting to the last thing you didn't say. That's real control. That's how leaders move. That's how legacies are built. Silence teaches you restraint. It teaches you to sit with discomfort without exploding. It teaches you to let emotions pass before you speak. It trains you to respond with discipline, not impulse. Most people sabotage themselves because they speak too fast, reveal too much, and fight battles that don't matter. But when you choose silence, you choose mastery. You choose the long game. You choose results over reactions. Some will misunderstand your silence as weakness. Let them. You don't exist to be understood. You exist to evolve. And evolution requires space. Silence gives you that space to grow, to reflect, to protect your direction. You are not here to explain your mission to those who don't have one. You are not obligated to justify your peace, your distance, or your progress. You are only obligated to move with purpose and honor your vision. The loudest voice in the room is rarely the strongest. Real strength walks in silence and proves everything with action. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't seek validation. It doesn't perform for approval. It just works. It just delivers. It just keeps going long after others burn out from the sound of their own ego. That's why silence is a weapon. It's the difference between those who make noise and those who make history. You'll be tempted to speak. You'll be tempted to respond. But every time you feel that pull, ask yourself, will this elevate my mission or distract from it? If the answer is distraction, you stay silent. Not because you're avoiding the fight, but because the fight is beneath you. You're not here to win verbal wars. You're here to conquer goals, build empires, and walk with purpose so loud it never needs to be shouted. Let silence be your standard. Let it guide your reactions. Let it protect your peace. Let it fuel your rise. Because in a world where attention is currency and noise is cheap, silence is rare. And what's rare becomes powerful. Speak when it's time to move mountains. Stay quiet when it's time to build them. Your silence speaks more than any argument ever could. It says, I know who I am. It says, I don't chase noise. It says, I'm on a mission too big to stop for distractions. Keep your mind sharp, your emotions in check, and your voice reserved for truth. Let your silence confuse them. Let it unsettle them. Let it discipline you. Because the one who doesn't need to speak to be respected is the one who has already won. Unshakable mindset wins. Not talent, not luck, not perfect timing. It's the man or woman who refuses to break, who refuses to fold, who keeps showing up with full focus when others start falling apart. Everything begins and ends in the mind. If they can't shake your thoughts, they can't shake your future. When your belief is locked, when your inner world is built on steel, nothing outside of you can destroy what's inside of you. That's how you dominate. By mastering your mentality, weak minds chase comfort. Strong minds chase growth. Weak minds crack under pressure. Strong minds adapt and keep moving. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally disciplined. It's not about never doubting. It's about never surrendering. The unshakable mind sees the problem and keeps pushing. It feels the pain and keeps pushing. It hears the doubt and keeps pushing. Because quitting is not an option when you've already decided you will win. An unshakable mindset is built, not gifted. It's forged through pressure. It's carved through setbacks. Every time you've been knocked down but stood back up, you were building it. Every day you chose discipline over distraction, you were reinforcing it. Every hour you stayed silent and focused instead of reacting to noise, you were sharpening it. It's not born in comfort. It's born in fire. And the ones who welcome that fire become unbreakable. Your mind is your command center. It tells your body what to do. It guides your energy, your actions, your focus. If your mind is weak, everything falls apart when pressure hits. But when your mind is unshakable, you remain grounded no matter how hard life tries to pull you off track. Distractions don't shake you. Opinions don't move you. Setbacks don't stop you. You may bend, but you never break. The unshakable mindset doesn't fear loss. It doesn't panic when things don't go as planned. It adapts. It recalibrates. It finds another way. That's the difference between people who stop and people who succeed. Winners adjust. Losers complain. Winners keep going when it's boring, when it's brutal, when no one believes. Losers only show up when it's easy. That's why the winner walks away with everything. Not because they had more, but because they became more. Most people break before the opportunity arrives. They crack under the waiting. They fold under the grind. They get emotional. They lose focus. They forget the goal. That's why the mindset matters. If you let every opinion shake you, you'll never build anything. If you let every bad day defeat you, you'll never become anything. But if you train your mind to stand tall regardless, nothing will stop your rise. You don't need motivation every day. You need clarity. You need commitment. You need a reason so deep that no excuse can bury it. That's how unshakable minds are built. They aren't chasing a feeling, they're chasing a mission. And when you chase a mission, you don't fold for temporary emotions. You don't quit because it's hard. You accept the hard, you embrace the struggle. Because you know it's the price of greatness. Unshakable means you're rooted. People can doubt you, lie about you, walk away from you, and you still don't lose focus. You still don't flinch, because your belief isn't built on others. It's built from within. You don't collapse when they don't clap. You don't need a crowd. You don't need support to stay committed. You are your own source. You've already decided, and when a mind decides fully, nothing can unmake that decision. Storms will come. Pressure will mount. Challenges will test your will. But you are not here to crumble. You are here to conquer. And to do that, you need to become mentally solid. Stop entertaining doubt. Stop feeding fear. Stop listening to people who've never built anything. Your mind should be a fortress, not a playground for worry. You defend it. You protect it. You feed it truth, strength, clarity, vision. You want to win. Then win the battle in your head. Win the war against comfort. Win the fight against quitting. Get up when it's hard. Train when you don't feel like it. Show up when it's uncomfortable. Speak power into your path. Refuse to let weakness live in your thoughts. Say no to small thinking. Say no to fear. Say no to everything that tries to pull you away from the standard you promised yourself you'd never break. Your mindset must become your weapon. When everything else fails, it keeps you alive. When people leave, it carries you forward. When failure hits, it becomes your foundation. Don't wait for the world to get easier. Become stronger. Don't wait for the environment to change. Become unshakable in any environment. You don't get to decide what happens, but you get to decide how you respond. And a strong response is the edge that separates the winners from the rest. You want freedom? Master your mind. You want success? Master your mind. You want peace in the storm, clarity in the chaos, results in the face of resistance? Master your mind. That's the code. That's the way forward. Everything you're chasing is on the other side of that mental strength. Build it, earn it, guard it, and never give anyone the power to take it from you. Because once your mindset is unshakable, your path becomes unstoppable. So stand firm. Hold your ground. Decide once and for all that your mind is not up for negotiation. No matter what comes, failure, silence, betrayal, pain, you will not be moved. You will not be shaken. You will not retreat. Because the path you've chosen is not for the average, and the mission you're on does not belong to the weak. From this point forward, let there be no hesitation in your thoughts, no doubt in your direction, and no weakness in your decisions. You've built your mindset like a fortress. Now walk through life like a warrior who cannot be broken. Let the world watch as your results speak louder than any word ever could. Unshakable mindset wins. And now you've become the proof.